What is up, everybody? Last day of the month of January. It's been a good one so far. This is episode number 11, believe it or not. My name's Trey. These are our distinguished gentlemen in panel for this evening.
I'm Jimmy Linguini. Hello.
This is Brandon. I'm back in Minnesota, and it is freezing here.
What's up? It's Keith, and I'm glad we're not in a polar vortex.
Dude, those videos that I've seen from Minnesota, Michigan, and Chicago are just unbelievable. And hearing about like all the homeless people that died, it's just tragically horrible what's going on.
Oh, it's freezing. We closed the liquor store down early yesterday, so I got to leave early. That never happens.
Fuck, I'm surprised they let you guys out, man. Chicago is like minus 40.
Well, right now it's -5 without the wind chill, which really doesn't mean anything. It's probably about 40 below with the wind chill.
Yeah, I wouldn't even be going outside, dude.
Well, I didn't have a choice other than, I could quit my job, but...
No, how are we going to get our liquor spec?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
You selfish assholes.
That Johnny Walker bottle, though, is really awesome. It looks way better in person than it does in the pictures.
The Chinese one?
Yeah, it's called the Year of the Pig, I believe it is, for Chinese New Year this year. And it's just all painted like traditional Japanese artwork. It's really cool looking.
There's a lot of I mean, I don't know if this is something I just haven't noticed, but there is a shit ton of promotions for this Chinese New Year. There's all kinds of really cool shoes that are coming out and golf clubs, and it seems like half the stuff I'm into there's
people notice that, China has money, and if you market stuff towards them, they'll buy it.
Yeah, no kidding. That's speaking of China, Keith, I was looking on eBay today, and I saw that there was a badass Panini Prism basketball card variant that was tiger striped. You know anything about it?
Yeah, man. So all those kind of cards, and there's another one that's like blue, yellow, and green. They only appeared in the Panini Choice boxes, and those boxes were exclusive for Asia and Australia.
Exclusive. Because I don't know if the tigers just look insanely badass. I mean,
I know, and those cards go for good money, man.
I would, out of all the prisms, I mean, if I had choice, that was the one I'd want of one of the bigger guys.
It's pretty cool. I like it.
Jimmy, what's been going on in the comic book world?
Well, this week there seems to be two books that have really taken off for whatever reason, and that's this Spawn 264, and it's the Spawn 293 cover C variant, and it's because there's like a misprint inside of it, so that book's been selling pretty well online. But some people said it's recalled. It's not recalled. It's just a misprint. So there's that book, and then the WWE Forever #1 seems to be selling really well.
Really?
So yeah, but it was a $7.99 book though, so that's why a lot of stores might not have ordered it. But the cover has, I guess, the four main guys that everybody likes: Andre the Giant, and then I don't know who the other three guys are offhand, but they're
The Rock.
No, are you no?
That's like the main guy that everybody loves from wrestling.
What? No.
Back in the day, I have to now look this up.
Oh, sure. Everybody did love Hulkamania.
God dang it, are we really going to start talking shit about Hulk Hogan?
No.
Okay.
Listen, all I'm saying, okay.
I can deal with some shit, but we ain't doing that.
Okay.
Oh, man.
You ready for the... Well, I don't know who this one guy is. I think it's Rampage Jackson.
Yeah.
Okay, so the cover one has Andre the Giant, Rodney Piper,
Roddy.
Rodney.
Ric Flair, and then that other guy whose name I just said that now.
Rampage, he's not even a fucking WWE wrestler.
Okay, well, that's obviously not who it is.
It's a black guy, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it Junkyard Dog?
Coco Beware.
You know what?
Who's the guy that did the Pearl River Plunge? Ahmad Johnson.
Ahmad Johnson, is he even that famous?
fucking Ahmad Johnson was a badass.
Yeah, like I could have just sent you guys this image, and you could have just told me.
I found it online, but I have no idea who that is. Probably
Yeah,
before
I mean,
my
if
time.
I'm like, I don't like, I'll edit this out obviously, and we'll start from when we figure out who these 4 guys are.
Yeah. Also, by the
No,
way,
this
isn't
is
it
good
episode
stuff.
12?
No, yeah, this is great.
I'm done with this editing shit. Unless we say something, literally horrible. Let's just leave it in.
Yeah, it's Junkyard Dog, right? He's got the
Is it?
chains on. That's what it looks like. No, damn, it doesn't look like him.
Well, anyways, the WWE Forever #1 has been selling really well, and there's also this 1 per store variant that apparently has been selling okay. But yeah, it's
That's
a $7.99
Junkyard Dog.
book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
1000% Junkyard Dog.
There you go.
Well, it could be.
That is a fucking badass cover. Holy
That is pretty cool, dude.
shit. Yes. Whoever's pumping and dumping, you got my permission on that one because that is bad fucking ass.
There's a weird market for those wrestling comic books.
Shit, I still got a bunch of those flares. And the thing about them, that Andre the Giant is, I can't tell if that's drawn or digital.
Yeah,
I'm
I
sure
don't know.
it's digital to some capacity.
Looks drawn. It's
I
painted,
need his
man.
face on a fucking shirt. That exact face on a shirt badly.
Is it? I mean, it could just be me because I don't pay that much attention to it. But to me, it almost seems like those books are a lot like Valiant, where those variants get super, super hot right when they come out. But then once the few collectors that there are get them, there's really not that much of a market.
I think you're onto something with that.
Every time I hear about one of those variants, they're really hot for like a week, and then they just kind of drop off the face of the earth.
Yeah, but those are the ones that they drop off the face of the earth, or so you think. 5 months later, you look, and they've been constantly going back up in value and selling like a son of a bitch. That's what happens on books like that. You lose track of it, and people have been, making good, decent money off of them the whole time.
Well, and the market dries up for them, and then once one hits, boom, the price goes way up. You know how that goes.
Because that was the one thing I always noticed about comic books is there's so many different waves of collectors that a lot of times, there's a certain group that jump on everything first. Guys like us. There's guys that wait a little bit, then jump on it. But there's different waves. So a lot of times people are a few weeks to a few months behind the big time speculators and guys that are just entrenched in it like we were. So I definitely think that if a variant's hot for any reason when it comes out the gate, don't give up on it. If on week 2 it starts sliding back down. Personal opinion.
Unless there's like just a ton of copies out there, That
Well,
kind of kills it.
this is again the regular cover. This WWE Forever #1.
Wow, the regular cover selling?
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
but again,
like
it was
covers,
it was a $7.99 book, and you can find some for cover price, but there are a lot of sales at 15 to 10.
If I was a shop order, I probably wouldn't have ordered that for $7.99 unless I looked at the cover.
That's a good point. Oh,
Even
fuck.
so, I don't know. I don't know how well those books.
Look at these assholes charging $19 shipping in Canada. What kind of racket y'all running up there?
Yeah, that's why I edit stuff. Because why would I want to hear about that? Come on.
Who would?
I'm serious. I'm not going to do this podcast. You keep editing this shit. True. I'm just being.
Man. Have you watched any of the edits?
Yeah, it's you trying to be funny and no one else laughing about it.
I don't feel like that's what any of the edits are, actually.
All right. I'm just telling you, if we're going to keep editing this, I'm not going to do it.
I agree. There's some good content that gets left out sometimes.
If you want to edit it, at least talk to us about it so the group can have some discussion.
Are you kidding me? I don't know.
I think the big part of it is really just, killing some dead air, but
I don't get it.
Okay, so what's going on with Wonder Woman 63 cover B?
It looks like the poster. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a poster at Walmart a couple years back. I think it's the exact same cover. It's awesome.
I really like the cover. I know that.
What is it? What's it been topping out at?
I was just going to look that up. I'm kind of curious myself.
So Sure Hama, remember she got famous doing that Howard the Duck one
I guess she was.
With Kamala Khan on it, remember?
Yeah, I guess you're good.
That was a while ago though.
It has been a while.
They're kind of all over the map. It looks like there's people, at 15, then there's people way down at like $8.
Those bees have surprisingly stayed strong in value.
Well, I think we talked about it last week about them finally putting out images ahead of time in previews, but I think that will change things quite a bit. Once people know what they're going to order ahead of time, people might go, oh, the B cover is the better cover. I'll get that one.
For sure, man. It's harder to sneak up, right, if it's in previews.
I mean, we always say that, but there is a lot of stuff in previews that gets ignored. But we'll see. I think it'll definitely make a difference.
It's possible. It is definitely possible. What do you guys think about this Batman Beyond movie rumor?
It's interesting. I never really watched Batman Adventures, or Batman Animated, I should say, when I was a kid. But I did watch Batman Beyond, and I always really liked that. I know I mentioned it a while back. Like issue 1 of that original Batman Beyond series is doing really well in 9/8.
Isn't there a free comic book day version or a weird a Six Flags variant?
Six Flags. Yep, they were giving them away. That one, there's a couple people that list them for high and are just hoping that people don't realize, and occasionally they sell, but it's definitely much less valuable.
Yeah, I know that book's been pretty high price for a couple years now. I mean, not obviously as much as it is now, but it's been going up.
Yeah, and like I said, 9.8 especially, it's really crazy.
It's he's a fan favorite for whatever reason. I never really got into the character. I mean, I was into the Batman animated, but that character just never really drew me in.
I guess it's kind of a simplistic comparison, but it kind of reminds me of Miles Morales. It's a younger character. And I know it's not necessarily that way in the comics, but how they set it up in Spider-Verse, he kind of got mentored by the original character.
Yeah, that's the thing about DC and Marvel. If you go and look, DC usually does things about 7 to 8 years, and Marvel comes and does it a little bit better. So.
Yep. Yeah, but I mean, with how successful Spider-Verse was, and I'm really hoping it wins the Oscar for Best Animated Picture. I think if they can do something half that good for DC, it'd be a big hit.
Yeah, I thought about that. I thought about how some of these animated movies would do theatrically that DC has done, some of the better ones. And it wouldn't do Spider-Verse numbers, but also looking at some of the Dragon Ball Z numbers from the super numbers and things like that.
Oh man, it's crazy.
I think DC would do. I think those animated would do a lot better than a lot of people give them credit for.
Well, and I think they just have to get a lot of people to show it. But Aquaman is doing crazy numbers. People always say that comic book movies are going to die and people are going to get tired of them, but
I was one of them.
We've been going for so long and stuff is still doing so well that I think it's just so ingrained in pop culture now that it's never going to go away.
Yeah, but I'm going to go out and say this. People thought that Westerns would never go away.
That was
people thought that like the 80s action, like Commando style movies would never go away.
Oh man, they shouldn't have.
Well, the superhero movies that basically turned into, or the action movies had turned into those superhero movies, right?
Right. I'm just saying that there's going to be an evolution of these comic book movies. And what I think is going to happen, unfortunately, is I don't think a lot of these are going to be based on comic books necessarily anymore. I think they're going to be comic book style movies. But I think a lot of these movie directors and things like that, they're just going to start creating their own characters and creating movies based on that content.
Well, that's what's going on with that Brightburn movie, right?
Yeah, that's the thing about it. Though, I mean, it's a Superman gone wrong origin. I mean, almost. I mean, if you watch the trailer, I mean, they may do some different things inside the movie, but based on the trailer, it is what it is.
Yeah, but I mean, that's something that's already been done in comic books even. And I know when that trailer came out, like a lot of people kept saying like, oh, why didn't they just adapt one of these things that are already done? But it's probably less expensive because they don't have to pay for the rights.
Yeah.
And Superman is such it's just an American staple. You can't really get sued for parodying him.
What was it, Hancock?
Yeah.
What was that based off? Is that based off anything?
No, I think it was an original property. The problem was just that it was kind of dumb.
I mean, actually, if you really think about it, I actually answered my own fucking question from what I talked about last week. Glass. Look at the M. Night Shyamalan universe.
Yeah.
Yep.
I should answer my own question, but I honestly think a lot more of that's going to be going on because it's obviously they're trying to, cut budgets and this and that. When you got to pay licensing and probably all the other things that these people they're having to do for superhero movies, they're going to start looking to use their own stuff. So,
what I think is really going to be the way to kind of put your finger on the pulse this year is that Hellboy movie.
I think that's they didn't do bad box office when comic book movies weren't cool.
They didn't.
I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like those movies were phenomenal, and they got great critical reviews. They had amazing effects. They were visually good. They were well written, but they did okay.
So who's doing the Hellboy? Which company?
I don't know what studio it is, but
I don't even know.
David Harbour's playing Hellboy, and it's a darker take on the character than the original one. Because if you remember in the original one, there was some slapstick stuff. And, but apparently it's going to be a darker version.
It looks like it's Lionsgate.
Lionsgate.
They've done quite a few successful horror movies, so
yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited. Like I said, we got a Spawn. We're not far from the Spawn movie start filming, so
no, I'm excited about that too.
Those books are still way too cheap.
I don't like which ones. I guess
Spawn
1 newsstands. That's the book that they've gone up.
8.
Smart man.
I used to buy those for $5 a pop. Well, I bought Spawn 1 anytime I saw it for less than $10, and that's worked out me because I've sold most of them for $25 a piece now.
Yep. I mean, that's the thing. Everyone talks about the print run, but we all bought Spawn #1 that was part of our childhood. I mean,
yep.
That might be one of the biggest, if not the biggest, comic book release of all time. If you really think about like the press that book had, McFarlane was on Letterman. I mean, et cetera, the way that book was done. I have never seen a comic book get that kind of press. Even the death of Superman didn't receive that kind of press that Spawn 1 had.
Well, it was huge because he broke out and they just formed Image, and that was the new big thing,
Yeah,
and
I guess Liefeld was on quite a bit too. Now that
he had that like Levi jeans commercial, didn't he?
Yeah, where he played like a bad boy.
Yeah, he's the bad boy of comics.
He's shit.
The thing that
he's not shit.
I like Liefeld.
And no, as a bad boy, bad boy hard ass, he ain't shit.
I thought you were talking about McFarlane actually.
Oh no, shit! No one's gonna speak ill of Todd on this podcast.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you better not.
He was him and Jim Lee were the artists of our generation. I mean, that's just in my opinion.
Oh, that's for sure. I followed McFarlane religiously when he first came out.
I mean, there's not a cover that Jim Lee doesn't do that I don't try to buy if it makes sense. If it's a 1 in 1,000 or a 1 in 100. I mean, like I said, if you remember, I was one of the guys that bought one of the 1 in 5,000 Dark Knight Master Race Jim Lee sketch variants. Yeah. I didn't have a store, and I was still buying that shit because Jim Lee original art. Are you kidding me?
Oh, I would kill to get a sketch, man.
Yep, I sold that one way too soon.
His prices are astronomical now.
Yep.
Oh, of course. Like Trey said, he's the artist of our generation.
And he doesn't fall off his lines. I mean,
no, it still looks good.
Everyone talks about like Del Otto doesn't draw, faces that great. I mean, everyone had, Liefeld and his feet. I've never heard of anyone ever make a consistent complaint about a Jim Lee cover.
Nope, you can't.
And that's a mark of an incredible artist. I mean, the same thing. Everyone thought, in the 90s and the 80s, everyone raved about Frank Millar's art. And then last 2 years, that's all everyone talks about, is how shitty his new art is.
Yeah, he's definitely gone downhill.
It's weird to me because Frank Millar it was like a roller coaster where his art started off kind of shitty and then, it kept getting better and getting better and better. And then just went back down and got worse and worse and worse and worse.
Perfect example. Do you remember the Champions 1 Neil Adams variant last year?
Yeah.
The Hulk back?
Yep.
But now he drew a cover last month that blew my mind how fucking good it was.
Neil Adams is somebody I'll always respect. I think he did a lot for creators in general, and regardless of what you think of him as a person or as an artist, I think what he did just for creators is something that should be respected.
I mean, he gave Frank Millar a start, and if you listen to in some of the publications and interviews, saved his life the last couple of years. I mean, if you're a fan of anything Frank Millar's ever done, and you're not a fan of Neil Adams' artwork, you need to be a fan of Neil Adams because there would be none without him.
Well, and what he did for Siegel and Schuster was huge.
Yeah, what he claims to have done.
I don't know. I believe it, man.
I don't know. He has a lot of stories that I don't think have been backed up. I don't think all of his stories have been backed up. Some of them have, but I don't know about all of them.
But at the other side, you hear these stories of a good guy, but I also know those guys that peddle shit and they do it every weekend as a swap meet. Those guys aren't usually very good guys, and that's him at Comic Cons. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about Neil.
I mean, you got to make a living somehow.
That is true.
I don't blame anybody for making money. I know I mentioned it to Jimmy earlier this week. Like, I saw some posts on Facebook about shop owners pulling hot variants off the shelf, and I'm like, so what? Like, it's their product, and if they want to make full price on it instead of selling it for cover, good. If it helps them stay in business, we'll have more local comic shops open.
And what's the point if you have a pull list? People aren't going to order it, then they can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's crazy to me that people would fault a shop owner for trying to make a living.
If you don't have a pull list though, and you don't have the book on your pull list, and you're complaining about that kind of stuff, like that's nonsense in my opinion.
Yeah,
you guys are fucked up. My LCS gets variants that your stores don't.
Probably because none of the stores around me really get much for variants.
Because I get Walmart variants.
Oh, nice. Did you open that Spider-Geddon one? What was it?
I did not. I did not.
I saw those the last time I was
for $7.99. I saw that they've been selling consistently for $20 on eBay, and I was like, I got $7.99.
Damn. So they're selling them packaged?
Yes, 3-pack. And like I said, the Jimmy, I messaged Jimmy, and he said, yeah, buy all the Batman 4s and Superman, the one that the Lois Lane and that first appearance, and they only had there was a Superman 7, but it was pretty rough. I mean, it was ungradable condition. It had one corner that was pretty bad, but they had the Batman 4 and pretty darn good shape. And I bought it. So.
That's shocking. They still had the Batman 4 because that came out like a couple months ago.
Dude, it's in Oklahoma at Walmart. No one's looking for comic books there yet. Like I said, I made another swoop with a couple others and picked up a couple. I found that the one thing I found is that I have not seen any of the Teen Titans 3s or 4s for whatever reason. So I don't know if people are trying to make sets. I think some of these are going to be harder than others down the road. But
I don't know if they've released anything about sales numbers, but especially around me, all of those Walmart books have been selling really well. Like the displays are just consistently empty.
Are they restocking them at all though, or no?
Yeah. I've been there when they're coming out with more, and if I'm there a couple days later, they're gone.
Like I said, we need like a Walmart insider because I think the print runs might be a lot higher than what we actually think they are, and I think they might be holding a lot back, and that could be why Trey was able to get a book that came out 4 months ago.
No offense to anybody that works at Walmart, but I don't know if we want a Walmart employee on the podcast.
No, I'm not saying we want one on the podcast. I'm saying in the comic industry, we need an insider to break down what the print runs are of these, how many copies a certain stores get. I'm not saying we need one on the podcast.
All right, in that same vein, guys, I'm out of it. What is this He-Man?
The
DC?
Primal Age?
Well, you can only get them at Target because those are fucking awesome.
Funko and New York Comic Con came out with this new toy, and they only had like one exclusive, and it's the DC characters in the He-Man universe,
right? Which is awesome.
So they had like prototypes at the show, and they had one exclusive there that they were selling, and then they started coming out in stores. So you can get them on Amazon, you can get them at pretty much any stores, and Funko places. And then Target had an exclusive comic book.
What the fuck? The comic's selling for $21?
Yeah. So the comic itself is $9.99, but it tells the whole story of like their universe.
Oh, I almost want to fucking pause a podcast.
Like it's possible.
Stack of them.
It's possible it could go. It could be turned into like some kind of animation. I doubt
That's what I think is going to happen.
But it is like the first DC He-Man mashup. It's not the first time they're together. It was the first time of these characters mashed up, and like they even have like a Grayskull DC style figure universe, but it's not like the Grayskull. It's like it's something.
What's the what is there chase figures and shit like that with the?
No.
Okay, so there's not like a chalk figure.
These ones are a totally different line of Funkos, so they have popped. They're not in boxes.
So what? You don't think He-Man versus Injustice would be the first He-Man DC mashup?
No. These characters are the mashup one. Like, so it's Superman is a He-Man character.
Like
all
amalgam. Think amalgam.
Yeah, I was going to say think Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Guys,
but I agree with you. If these do well, and something does end up happening with this property, which is like really unlikely, but it's possible, then I do think those other books will do well, like you mentioned, Keith.
Weird. There's a what the fuck? I just saw a Batman and a Wonder Woman. There's only one guy that has that on there.
Yeah, and there's it's like the Joker and Skeletor.
All the figures are on Amazon though, and if so, okay. I mean, I think they'd be a lot cheaper on Amazon than they would be on eBay.
I don't think the figures are good spec, but those comic books are definitely something I would pick up.
Well, I saw 20 of them in a box by the comic books. I mean,
well, if you want to grab one of those and send it my way,
done. I'll buy it if you pay shipping. How about that?
You got it.
So is the art better on the inside than this cover? Because this cover looks like trash.
I think the cover is just made to look like the figures, and the figures are that Masters of the Universe style where they're overly muscular and they're all like look like they're 5 feet tall or something. But
here's some spec for you. At Target, they have a DC Primal Age lunchbox. That's the kind of shit that we worth That's the kind of shit that we worth $10,000 in mint condition when our kids are 25.
See, here's the thing. I think they will do a TV show, Jimmy. And the reason is, if you haven't watched that documentary on Netflix about Funko, the guy who bought that is trying to get Funko into everything. They've got Funko cereal. They've got Funko t-shirts. They're doing Funko comic books now. They're going to do a Funko TV show at some point, and I think this would be a really easy way for them to do that because they've already got their own IP, essentially, with this.
Is it their IP, though?
I would assume that they've got the license to do more than one type of medium if they're able to do a comic book and the action figures. I mean, is DC going to say no? Even if they're like, hey, we want to make this show and put it on the DC streaming service, we'll co-finance it with you. DC is going to say yes.
I don't see why they would say no.
It's money, man.
Right. It's free money for DC, and it's more promotion to get kids into DC characters.
I just feel like it wouldn't just be DC, right? Because it'd be whoever has the He-Man properties as well. I mean, it's possible. There's
is somebody still doing Masters of the Universe shit right now?
Well, I know somebody definitely owns the license, but
I don't know about toys or anything. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, I mean, other than Primal Age and old stuff, I never really hear anything about it.
Well,
yeah, ever since
DC's
like Matty Collector did that whole line of signature collectibles for He-Man, and ever since that fell off, I haven't, because they did subscription figures, and those seem to sell well occasionally, but I haven't seen anything since those.
I mean, this isn't any secret, obviously, but I mean, get ready. The He-Man shit's gonna happen.
Oh, it will. With
It's
everything's
gonna-
nostalgia right now. That's what it's all about.
Yep. But it's gonna happen. I mean, I don't think that's a big
It's already
surprise.
happening. I mean,
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, it's
to the DC universe. It's over the last 5 years, that book has what, tripled? Probably more than tripled at this point.
What, the DC previews
DC
or whatever?
presents, yeah.
Yeah.
Jimmy. What is this Spawn misprint? Talk to me about it.
Yeah, the Spawn book
we
that came
talked
out
about
this
it.
week had a misprint in it. Selling well.
It is selling extremely well.
I think there's like a real outside chance that was just marketing.
Well, Todd McFarlane did a video, and like a Facebook video where he showed it off, and he didn't mention the misprint, and he showed pages of that specific book, but it was solicited as being in black and white. So
Right, but like
it does cost them a great deal to redistribute a book.
But that's what I mean. Like, it cost them a lot to redistribute the book, but they didn't tell any shop owners to return them. They were just like, hey, we're going to send you more.
I don't think Image usually does ask you to return them. I think they say like maybe destroy them, but they never say return them. I guess I think that's mainly because it costs them more money. It costs money for them to get them back. So, and I don't think they really care that much because it's just the coloring, right? So, who knows?
Yeah, I mean, it seems more expensive to me to go through the trouble of reprinting and shipping out all the books than it does to, like, you know, offer a partial refund or something. But I guess I don't really know how that side of the comic book industry works.
Well, I mean, that book is going to have a lower print than the other covers because stores weren't able to reorder copies and stores weren't able to get damages for like damage replacements. So it's going to have a smaller print run. By how much, who knows? And then Spawn collectors are weird, so that book will probably grow in the next few years. But
why are they weird?
I know it's going to go down, and then it will probably start to go up again because Spawn collectors like weird stuff. And the weirdest Spawn books start picking up out of nowhere, and they go for ridiculous amounts of money. And it just seems like it's more of a niche group of people. But for the value of these that some of these books are getting, it's just like, how is this happening? So I mean, I just feel like the Spawn sphere of fans is just totally unlike some others.
There's a lot of rare Spawn books. It's crazy. That Eastern Washington book came up for sale last week.
Really?
Yeah, you never see that, man.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, Todd went to Eastern Washington, I think, and he went back and he gave a speech.
I think he did the commencement speech.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
So
then they gave it out to the graduates, I think.
And then there was 2,000.
Was it 2,000?
It was small as print run,
Okay.
5,000 maybe. But he was there for a signing as well. So a lot of those books got signed by Todd.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty hard to find one that's unsigned.
That's funny. The first thing that comes up when I Google that is Spawn a Marvel or a DC character?
He's been in both.
Shows how much people know about indie comic books still.
Well, I mean, I don't know, because I think a lot of people, when they were introduced to Spawn, if they didn't know anything about comics, it would have been through in that one Batman book or that one Spider-Man book that he appears in, right?
I mean, I guess it's possible, but I feel like most people were introduced to Spawn either through the comic, through the original movie, or through that TV show.
You know, one of my favorite
that
thing.
movie is something I forgot about.
You know what my favorite thing in comic books ever has been, and it's kind of random, and some people may or may not know it, but in the end of Batman Spawn, the crossover, the very last page, Batman hits Spawn with a batarang right in the face. If you follow the issues of Spawn after that, there is a tear and a scar where the batarang was left for a considerable amount of time. So I thought it was always one of my favorite things. So that batarang was in Image continuity.
Interesting.
I've never heard a worse fact just destroy a podcast before, but I think I just did it.
All right, so I know I wanted to talk a little bit about some Nova spec. Are you guys ready for that?
What year? 76, 77?
Well, that's exactly why I wanted to talk about it, because
No, I mean red, yellow, what color?
My grandma had a cool green one.
Oh, dude.
yeah, Chevy, man.
I heard the greens were the variants, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish. I don't want to interrupt.
No, I'm talking about Marvel Comics Nova, not the Chevy Nova. A little bit different.
Oh.
If you guys haven't noticed, there's been a ton of people speculating on the first appearance of the original Nova on the back that they think he's going to appear in the MCU, which I don't think is bad spec, and I've even suggested it myself, but I think it's a good idea to hedge your bets. There is a younger Nova that's been reintroduced named Sam Alexander. His first appearance is Marvel Point 1, not the one that you're thinking of, the one that came out in 2011. And you can buy that online for like less than $5 all day. And there's a good chance that if they do go with Nova in the MCU, they might want to use that version, and that book will explode in price if that happens.
I totally agree.
He's already been in a couple of Marvel's animated TV shows, and I know they've put that version of that version of Nova as a character in like the Marvel Puzzle Quest and Marvel Future Fight and like their video games that they still pump out. So it seems like they're more keen on that version of the character.
Makes sense to me, to be honest with you. I like it.
That's a spec from way back, huh? That Alexander.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's just that so many people have, forgotten about it. And there's a couple of variants. I know there's like a 1 in 100 variant 9/8 that somebody has listed on eBay for like $2,000 or something ridiculous. I don't know about buying all that, but just buying the regular cover for $3 and sticking it in a box is probably a good idea.
If you've been paying attention, the last few months, Nova 1, the first appearance of Nova, has been going up quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
So it does make sense that some of these other characters would. Can we go back to Batman Beyond for a second?
Sure.
Why does the Batman Superman Annual 5 sell?
It's a art germ cover, I believe.
But isn't it? It's because it's like the first him in the
DC continuity.
The whole DC continuity. So he didn't appear in a book before that?
Man, I don't know. You're asking. I have no idea where you're going with
that.
Not in continuity. Correct.
I thought it was the new 52, and if you're saying it's the DC continuity, then okay, that makes sense.
Holy shit! Copies of Nova 1 are selling for $1,300 in newsstand. I got one.
That's why I'm saying, like, with how much money people are dumping into that, you should probably be buying this other book and covering your ass.
Oh no, I literally can't get off the podcast fast enough to get this motherfucker on eBay. Like literally. I got some Lucas to buy. Not being serious. I mean, I want to buy that, and I want to invest that in a in my Doncic fund. So
all right.
His cards keep going fucking up. I know, and I'm not stupid. There is a ceiling to this. But I honest to God think that he's starting in the All-Star game.
No, he's not starting in the All-Star game.
Oh, is he not?
Did they announce? They're announcing the reserves tonight. I know.
Oh fuck! I thought he was like second in votes a couple weeks ago.
But second in votes doesn't make you the
starter.
No.
Well, what the fuck? They just traded Kristaps Porzingis?
Yeah, dude. It's a sad day, but I don't know.
To the Mavs? Are you shitting me?
No, salary dump, and they got Dennis Smith Jr. and 2 first-rounders.
Whoa, hold on. Dude, the Mavs just fucking run roughshod on him.
I guess if he comes back and he's not injured all the time.
That is true, but they also, here's the thing. They got 2 first-round draft picks for Dennis Smith Jr., who was disgruntled, and DeAndre Jordan. Yeah, could you imagine a Doncic Porzingis? And people forget, in my personal opinion, I think Rick Carlisle is the second best coach in the NBA.
Yeah, it looks like Doncic didn't make the reserves for All-Star, so he didn't make the All-Star game.
Ooh.
Well, that's
I'm just looking at it right now.
no, I'm not seeing it either.
Oh, Davis, Aldridge, Jokic, Lillard, Thompson, Anthony Towns, and Westbrook.
Westbrook didn't deserve. Honestly, I'm a Westbrook. Wow, basketball's so fun right now. I mean, there's so much stuff. I mean, Trae Young is fucking blowing up.
Dude is shooting good now.
Jaren Jackson Jr. I mean, this rookie class is. I mean, Kevin Knox has slowed down a little bit, but
he's totally inefficient.
I mean, it's the Knicks. I mean, like I said, that's just an absolutely shit show and a half.
You're right. I've been following them all my life, so I know what kind of shit show that is.
I forgot that you're a Knicks guy.
I am, man. Sucks, but oh well.
So back on the sports card, every time I go into Walmart, there is a new Panini basketball offering. It seems like they got Prisms, there's Contender, there's Crown Royals, there's Dominion, there's Certified, there's Optic. Keith, what are your thoughts? Is it too saturated, too much?
I'm not quite sure, you know. That's what I was going to ask you about it. Man, it seems like there's a lot of autograph cards out there because people are chasing all these autograph cards now. It seems like it's getting flooded. I'm not sure if the prices are going down, but we might see that.
See, I didn't even really think about anything. I didn't really think about this until you told me about it, but the on-card autos go for almost 3 times what stickers go for from what I've been seeing. And it just seems like on the Panini has just an unlimited supply of Doncic and some of these guys sticker rookies.
You're right. So they can just slap it on any other card they bring out in the future, and it's there, you know?
That's why. So, I mean, that's the reasoning why the on-card, the fact that the guy touches it and there's a chance at damage and all that. I mean, that's the reasoning, in your opinion?
I believe so. I think people like that the player actually touched the card. And sometimes there's a bigger space to sign because the sticker is pretty small. So the autograph gets smaller. If you have a bigger area to sign, the autograph gets a little bigger.
That makes sense.
I don't know. We'll see. I guess I'm gonna follow this market and see what kind of prices.
Also,
I'm curious to see if they're gonna start coming down now.
But out of all these, it seems like Optic is kind of getting a little heat. You brought it up earlier to me and said it's Prism, but not quite Prism.
Yeah, so early in the year, Don Ross came out with a set, and this Optic cards are similar to Don Ross, except they got the Prism hollow foil stuff in them.
I'm such a fucking redneck. You call him Donruss?
Don Ross? I don't know.
I always call him Donruss.
Okay, I said Donruss. So that was funny. You made it sound like a guy's name to me. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Don Ross, man.
That's what it was. I was like, holy shit, have I been saying it wrong all these years? And people know
maybe I've been saying it wrong. Who cares?
Who knows?
I don't. I like the way you say it.
I like the design of these cards. They actually look pretty good, but the problem is historically it looks like the hollows go for a lot less than the silver Panini Prisms. I don't know.
But it looks like the rated rookies are the ones to buy on that ones, right?
Well, yeah, there's I like the rated rookie look, you know, it's kind of nostalgic. Remember from back in the day?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. That's what was cool about it.
Yeah, back in the day, those rated rookie cards are what everybody's collecting for baseball anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, I like the hollows. And there's also, on-card hollows too. On-card signed hollows. So we'll see. We'll see where that goes, man.
I'm with you. I'm not quite sure how saturated all this shit is, but it's going to be interesting to see.
It's definitely going to slow down here, though, in the next few weeks until I think National Treasure comes out.
Makes complete sense.
Did you get to look into any of those Panini Instant cards?
No, but I mean, I looked into them on eBay, but fuck, I messed up. Those are some of the cooler cards I've ever seen.
Yeah, so I guess every day the Panini website comes out with these cards that are like on-demand cards, they call them. So if something big or some kind of event happens in the NBA or wherever, football, whatever, they can actually print a card for the next day and sell it. And they have different types of parallels, of course. Green is like 1 in 10, and black is 1 in 1. And it looks like people swoop in and buy those Doncic ones fast.
Yeah. That I was reading, dude, they have apps apparently for the Panini site that you can buy that monitor and let you know when all that shit comes out and gives you a leg up on all that stuff. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, I went to the site today to look, and they were selling these ones with, man, like 5, 6 different guys signed them, and one was Luca.
Yep.
Those sold out quick. And they're going for big money, dude. They're like $600, and the other one was like $1,200 or something. They weren't cheap, man.
No, they weren't.
And they're probably gone in seconds, is my guess.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting what was going on with that Dennis Rodman card that just came out in the new whatever they are. You
The
know
one
what I
with
mean?
Michael Jordan on it.
Yeah, the one with Michael Jordan in the background, and people are picking it up because the Michael Jordan card hasn't come out in so long.
Yeah, it's like what was it, like a championship ticket or
Oh,
something?
it's a National Treasures.
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the picture's been used.
No, it wasn't. It
before,
wasn't
but
National Treasures. I'm
but
sorry.
the picture with the background hasn't been used before, so it's just really interesting that people just jump on that because of Jordan. In the
Looks like it's
background.
Contenders. It's in
That's
the
how you
it's
know a new
Contenders.
Space Jam movie is going to do well.
No, I don't. He's not in the new Space Jam movie.
Oh, he's going to be in it.
Plus, when you think about it, like Bill Murray won't be in the new Space Jam movie,
Yeah, it won't be as good without him.
so I can't remember anybody else who was in it, but it won't be good.
Larry Bird was in it as well.
Yeah, that's true, and he won't be in it.
Yeah.
So
Here's Keith. I got a question for you. I know football cards are the most volatile of all cards. For whatever reason, I mean they can get super high, but they lose value quicker than the other cards. Have you seen how grossly undervalued Sony Michel is compared to like Saquon Barkley and some of the other cards in that set?
I think there's a lot of people that are undervalued from that set. I'm looking at a couple of Philip Lindsay things.
Yes, if you look, if Michel had that groin injury to start the year, so he was slow getting in the Belichick system, and he was injured for a couple games. If you put the numbers where he was healthy against Barkley's, he's better in more categories.
Well, here's the problem, though. You're talking about a running back. So the problem with running backs is the shelf lives are real short.
You're right.
So I don't know if the hobby goes for running backs. It seems like the hobby loves quarterbacks.
No, that makes a lot of sense.
And it's really, when I talk to people about football and stuff, this year it's all about Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying, "Oh, I pulled a Baker. I pulled a Baker." That's like the Luka equivalent of the football.
Yeah, I know.
But how good really is Baker Mayfield? I really haven't seen the
He's
Browns.
all right.
Fucking good.
He's
Cocky
all right.
sucker. He lit us up for 3 years at Oklahoma State. I hate him more than anyone, but he's as good as advertised.
I didn't see any Browns games last year, so I have no idea. I know they won. I mean, shit, they're winning games.
No, he let him. He is what he is.
Yeah, I mean, he's good. Don't let me, talk him down. I just don't think he's amazing. But the only reason that Saquon Barkley did so well is because he was the entire offense.
But he's a really good player, though.
Have you seen the Baker Mayfield Grail card?
No?
The Panini, the autograph, the one where Baker Mayfield, the sketch card where he drew a picture of the Browns helmet as it's like an autograph, but they have to draw something, and on the back it makes you state the player's name, and then they autograph it as an authentic. Yeah, it's $25,000 on the Old Bay. I saw that a couple of days ago.
That might actually not be a bad investment.
Nope. Can you imagine if he wins a couple Super Bowls? If that was a Tom Brady card, it'd be 15. It'd be literally be selling for more than Picasso's and shit.
The problem is that he plays for the Browns.
Yeah, but here's the thing about it. People said that about Duke in the 80s. People said that about the fucking Patriots. People said about the Cubs and the Red Sox. Now
When did people say that about the Patriots?
The Patriots didn't win a Super Bowl until fucking Brady. And whatever year that was that he won the Super Bowl. That was the first time they won anything.
Yeah, they were down in the dumps for a while.
Yep.
I guess it was all probably before I was watching football.
And then you know what the Red Sox and the Cubs went through, and the Red Sox have won 4 World Series. So I mean, you're completely right. But all it takes is the right player, right general manager, right coach, and I mean, a team can turn into a dynasty very, very quickly. Dallas Cowboys are a perfect example in the 90s.
Yep. It goes in waves, man.
It definitely goes in waves, and Baker Mayfield's one of those polarizing figures that move the needle. I mean, he's talented, he's brash, he's cocky. And a lot of times, like I said, there's guys like Johnny Manziel, same way. But I think Baker has quite a bit better head on his shoulders. But I've been wrong before.
He's definitely the talk of football this year. I can verify that.
Yeah, around here, obviously here in Oklahoma, he's God.
For sports cards, for sure.
There's nothing he cannot get away with in this state. There's some Barkley Mayfield rookies out there, autographs too. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I like those dual autograph cards. They're usually stickers, but I like the shit of them.
I don't know. I kind of think it depends on if both of the players do well. Because if one player flames out on a duel, then I think it might hurt the value.
Yeah.
It just seems like you never get a good duel unless it's on a triple, but the triple sucks ass. You know what I mean? Like there's
the
two
card looks like
badass
shit.
guys, and then there's a guy that's like, he was like the 4th pick, but now he's playing in like Idaho or some shit for the AAA team. And there's 2 Hall of Famers on there, and you're like, God, that guy's in the middle of the 2 fucking best players in the last 10 years.
That's why those dual and triple autograph cards are a risk, man.
Was it the Barkley? Bird and Magic on a triple with Irvin? Is that right?
I want to say there was. I remember seeing one of those back in the day.
Okay, now here's the last thing I want to talk about sports cards. There are people on eBay that sell guaranteed autograph packs. Have you seen this, Keith?
Guaranteed.
They call them hot packs.
Nope.
You need to Google these hot packs. They guarantee an autograph in the pack, and they sell for some pretty insane money and some pretty low money in some instances. I bought a couple yesterday, so I'm waiting to bought some Prism. They guaranteed an autograph in these Prism packs, so I paid $23 and $19.50 for these packs. I'm getting my first autographs in a fucking pack. I know it's like shooting fish in a barrel, but fuck you guys. You watch the trail of tears I've taken on this shit.
You got to do that live for us.
I probably will.
You know what I've been watching is those subscription boxes. There's a bunch of different ones, man.
I do too.
Did you see that fantasy one? There's a fantasy card break or some shit, and they guarantee like 2 hits per box.
Yes.
It's 1 pack in the box, or no, they send you like 2 packs of cards and 2 hits. It's kind of crazy. I've been watching a bunch of videos like that.
You know what's worse is my Walmart had one of those Lenovo smart displays, like those Google things with the TVs that you can watch YouTube videos on. Have you guys seen them?
Yeah.
Well, Slickdeal said that, they had like a fuck up, and they had them down for $100, and they had one at my store, and I went in there and grabbed it. Well, I decided that I need to put this on the outside edge of my shower so I can watch YouTube videos when I shower. I literally just watch box breaks as I'm showering for like 20 minutes at a time, just watching guys pull fucking cards out of packs. Like, fuck, I should have bought some of that. Dude,
that's the best way to learn about what's inside of a pack and what you want to really buy.
It's fun watching guys get hits and shit too. How excited guys' hands are shaking. That's what's cool. And guys are pulling $3,000-$4,000 cards, and they can barely put it in a sleeve or a magnetic holder because they're shaking so bad. So shout out to my buddy Steven Dalton too, who texted me. He's sending us some baseball card supplies, so for some giveaways and some things like that. So
cool.
Oh, yeah, nice.
We got some awesome friends and fans. They all want pictures of Jimmy naked. He won't send them though, because he's quiet. He
almost did that the other day by accident.
That never happened. By accident. What is this guy talking about?
By accident?
Yeah, he's sending accidental pictures in the group chat.
Dang it,
I have
Jimmy.
no. What are you talking?
It totally happened.
What was the picture of?
I don't know. You deleted it so fast. I
never
wasn't one of the
loaded. I
people
don't
that
think it
got to see
loaded.
it.
I don't think it loaded because on my thing, whenever I show MeWe, it shows me that it's like trying to post a picture. I don't think it loaded. I think I tried to post some picture and then I posted something.
What was the
I don't even know
picture
what it
of,
was.
Jimmy?
The one that I was trying to post.
Yeah,
Offhand, I can't even remember. But
the one you're buying time to think of.
Oh no, I was trying to post that the misprint alert thing from Instagram because now I'm
By the
making
way,
these, snazzy Instagram posts.
I gotta admit, the website's got some really good articles the last couple weeks. Hello?
Yeah.
Salut.
Oh, sorry. I thought. Did anybody hear that?
I heard
No,
that.
that was my wife making a cameo appearance on the
Okay,
podcast.
that was weird. I thought that there was a ghost in my house. I really did. That was fucking really trippy. You know what?
It did sound weird, man. I was like,
okay,
oh, what
all
the
right.
fuck?
I've heard other people in the background, but that one just sounded off to me.
I don't know. Maybe it's something with the direction I've got the mic facing.
Heck
And
yeah,
where
dude,
she
you
was.
got the super duper mic picking up all satellites and shit.
Oh yeah.
All right, Brandon. There was a pretty crazy Magic the Gathering story / offering this week on Facebook. I know Jimmy has some comments and some thoughts on it as well. So
Actually, Jimmy was the one that brought it to my attention. I'm not a part of the high-end Magic the Gathering group on Facebook because I'm broke as shit.
Jimmy, though, interesting.
But there was a guy on there offering the original artwork for some Magic cards.
It's actually posted in a fine art Facebook group.
Oh, interesting.
Which makes it even more comical. There's 4 of them that are being offered. And then it was reshared in a bunch of Magic groups.
That's what it was. Well, anyway, he's offering the original artwork for some of the most iconic Magic cards that are out there. And he's asking some very, very high prices.
You know, the crazy thing is I didn't even know anything about the Black Lotus until Martin Scarelli was buying them up and talking about them on Reddit. And Jimmy put me up on the game. He's like, hey, this guy's using this to try to basically kind of launder money, was what Jimmy's thoughts were. But
he was 100%.
No, I know a lot of people who went from making money on Bitcoin and then took their money out of Bitcoin and put it into Magic because it's a gray market, not unlike comic books.
All right, guys. I don't know if you guys obviously probably Jimmy might because he's listened to the podcast before, but Bruce Buffer, the UFC announcer, was on the Joey Diaz podcast yesterday, and he was talking about memorabilia. He was talking about sports cards. He was talking about McFarlane, Nicolas Cage's comic book collection, and all that stuff. And it was crazy to hear about some of his memorabilia stories and exactly that, Jimmy.
But yeah, so the what is it? The Black Lotus original art is being offered for 6.5.
But no, that's what I'm saying is he said that collectibles are recession proof. And he said a lot of times that's what he said. You listen to the podcast. He said that
we had a recession though. Everything went down 5 years ago.
You know,
I don't think that's.
But here's the thing about it though, when sports cards took a shit, comic books went up. I mean, everything's cyclable, as you know. And if you know what's going on, which you have your pulse on all kinds of different collectible markets, you know where if you see things going one way, you're a smart enough guy, you're going to diversify and put some of your money in something else, right?
Yeah, I just don't think they're recession proof in any way.
Nothing's recession proof, but
I don't think that's
Magic cards held really, really well during the recession, and everybody still played Magic. Obviously, I'm sure there are people out there that were selling their Magic cards to pay their bills, but for the most part, Magic players are going to play Magic no matter what.
You said that Black Lotus is banned or something now?
Yeah, Black Lotus is a ridiculously good card. You can play it in one format, and you're only allowed to use one instead of the usual 4. But that card's so expensive that most people that have it aren't even playing with it because they don't want to destroy it.
So let's
Can you
get back.
play a
Let's get back
card
to this
in a
original.
magnet? Sorry.
Oh,
Can
let's
you
get back to
play a
this
card in a
original art.
magnet?
Go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Trey.
I was just gonna ask, can you play a card in a magnetic holder or like a protector in a tournament? Or you got playing raw dog?
No, people play them in sleeves. Most people that I know, myself included, put it in 2 different sleeves at the same time.
Okay.
But they're not like the hard plastic ones, just because it makes it impossible to shuffle. But even inside of those sleeves, you're still shuffling the cards, and you never know if some fuckhead's gonna knock it off the table and step on it or something.
That makes sense. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No. Let's get back to the original art, though. What makes you guys think this is going to sell for 6.5 million?
6.5 million might be a little bit of a stretch, but I said, like, if I had heard it sold for like $3 million, I'd believe it. I believe the guy said that he had an offer for like 2.5 million already.
That motherfucker, he screwed the fuck up not taking that.
There's been 2 other big Magic art sales. So one sold for $1 million and one sold for 750,000. And the 750,000 one, I think, was like the second most popular Magic card. I could be wrong on that one. But so there isn't really that big of a precedent for the art, and there is a lot of art like you can buy for Magic for like 10 grand. But I mean, what you got to remember is all of the artwork from the early Magic cards are mainly from like people who had just graduated from art school, and they aren't like the greatest examples of fine art per se. So I don't really think it's worth $6.5 million at all.
I do hope some original art and shit like that sell for that high, though.
Like Picasso's and stuff.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. Fine art doesn't sell for 6.5
But
million.
if you think about how many millions of players have probably dreamt about that card, wanted that card, lusted after that card, and know what that image means, I think that the value is not probably as far off as you think it would be.
So here's what I would say about it. Right now on eBay, there's a 9.5 BGS Black Lotus from Alpha, which is the original Magic the Gathering set. It's listed for $159,999.
There's 600 people watching it.
There are people out there that are that into Magic.
I've never seen that many watchers on anything.
And I don't know how much you can really trust what Wizards of the Coast quotes, but according to them, there's 220,000 people that play Magic the Gathering or something like that. I could probably look it up. But there are people that are diehard Magic the Gathering people. There's a lot of people that have Magic the Gathering tattoos. People that are into Magic, I would argue, are probably into it even more than comic books.
Check this shit out. So I'm looking on Black Lotus on eBay, and if you go and look at December 13th, there are 2 of the exact same cards sold in auction. BGS 9, PWCC, Magic the Gathering, MTG Alpha Black Lotuses. One of them went for 52, almost 53,000, and one went for 24. How do you explain that? Same card, same exact grade, same company, same everything.
Was one an auction and one buy it now?
I'm sending you.
No, they're all auctions. Huh?
Yeah,
I see what you're talking about.
I'm sending you the link in our private chat right now. I need you to explain this one to me.
eBay is kind of a funny place. A lot of it will depend on what time of day that auction ended.
I can tell you, Trey. I can tell you. So the ones that sold for higher, the grades are higher individually. So the one that sold for 24,000, if you see, the centering was at 8.5, and then it got 9.5. So
gotcha.
People are particular when they're buying these graded cards. They like 9999 would be the perfect mint card, not gem mint.
Well, if you guys remember, I know quite a few people that won't buy like a Hulk 181 or a New Mutants 98 if there's too much of the white or the black spine showing. You know what I mean? If there's an overlap on the wrap.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know people that will. I mean, they could care less if it's a 9.8 or not. They get away from it because of that. So it makes sense that there's card collectors that feel the same way or have preferences about, you know, the grades on the 4 individual grades. Speaking of grades, real quick before let me segue into this. Brandon, you were able to watch the CGC live stream.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. The vast majority of it was people asking kind of dumb questions like, you know, can CGC reattach my staple and have it not be considered a restoration, and kind of things that like you could easily just do a Google search. But there was a couple interesting things that really stood out to me. One of them was that straight from the words of a grader at CGC, they spend about 20 seconds grading a book.
Fuck them.
What?
20 to 30 seconds.
What about the inside?
Fuck those guys.
20 to 30 seconds is what he said.
Did you guys hear that?
That's bullshit. That's
and
bullshit.
you guys are paying these motherfuckers an insane amount of money.
Wait, are you serious?
That's what he said, and you know, maybe he meant like
that can't be true, dude.
Maybe he meant that they're
true.
like flipping through and just giving him an approximate grade in that time, but like that was what he said, and I was like, oh my god, I can't believe he just said that on stream.
I've been told by someone that I literally can't be a better source when it comes to grading. Hint, hint. That those graders have a quota that they have to hit per day.
That makes sense. Any kind of production job, you have a quota.
Somebody asked about that on the stream, and they specifically said like, oh no, we don't have any kind of quota, but it was like right after that he said they spend like 30 seconds grading something, and they'll know what the grade is. But the other thing that I thought was really funny personally, and I know it's something I've talked about before, but on the stream they basically, you know, said like, hey, you know, you can submit anything under modern if you want, but we're only going to insure it for that, you know, I don't even remember what it is off the top of my head, but whatever the maximum value for a modern tier book is what they're going to insure your book for.
200.
250?
Yeah. So if they mess up your book, that's all you're going to get back if you submit under modern. But my favorite part was when they were like, oh yeah, you could over declare the value of a book you wanted. And then he was like, well, we probably wouldn't pay out that much money from insurance if we ruined your book.
Fuck. Did they say that?
They said that on the stream.
I hope someone recorded that stream. I'm sure they did.
Oh, it's on YouTube. You can still go look at it. And he flat out
anybody
says,
for ruining
there are going to be people using that in court in the next 6 months. Mark my words.
I mean, they just won a lawsuit. CGC did against people that like it was a conspiracy thing where CGC apparently contacted Heritage, and a big thing with Matt Nelson, and they were taunting these people on the CGC boards, which again is hilarious. And when I say they, I mean like direct CGC employees. So I don't know. The whole thing was very comical, but hopefully it's appealed because I want to read more about it.
I don't know. It was a very interesting stream, and like right at that point, because there was one guy like that was a grader, and then there was some other girl in there that I think like works in another department. But as soon as she said that, even the other girl was like,
That's interesting. What else is going on in the Magic world?
Well, we had our first tournament results after the banning that we talked about last week. I don't know how much I would read into that, but Dredge was the deck that won, which was interesting. I think it might just be that a lot of people thought they didn't need to, you know, bring graveyard hate like they used to when KCI was a big thing. But it led me to looking at a card that I wanted to mention for everybody. It's going to be hard for you to spell, but I'll post about it in MeWe and Google+. It's called Narcomoeba. It's a card that's been in Dredge decks for a really long time in Legacy and Modern. And it was reprinted recently, and the new versions of the foil go for like, I don't know, $2 or so. And the original version of the foil still sells for like $24 a piece, which seems really, really crazy to me. Those new foils should be going for somewhere closer to that.
Interesting. God. I've bought a few of these cards that you told me about. I'm just scared shitless to go all the way in.
I don't blame you. I think it's a good idea to kind of dip your toes. Like I said, if you buy like 8 and you can sell 4 of them at a time and pack them all up together so that you barely have to spend any money on shipping,
right?
That's a good like introduction to it.
Between sports cards and occasionally comics and all the other shit I collect nowadays, I don't have enough.
Yeah,
you're having a blast
on Bonchik.
No, it's just that I'm having fun again. Like I said, I'm really excited. I mean, I'm trying to find certain bottles of whiskey now with certain color labels because of you assholes. So I mean, I'm having fun.
That's the thing is, you know, I don't know a lot about basketball, but it's fun to kind of learn about that stuff and hear that there's people out there pulling $50,000 cards out of a pack.
No, you couldn't have said it any better. It's just it's fun just learning about different things that have value. I mean, it does nothing but, you know, every time you walk into some place that are selling different things, it just increases your chance of finding that one crazy thing that, you know, we're all trying to find.
Exactly. Or you walk into a show of some sort and they got all kinds of shit out and you're not just totally confused about everything except for comic books, you know?
Right.
You're like, oh, what?
No, I mean, because that makes me wonder, like, how many times have I gone into, you know, a store or something like that and walk past something that could be worth a couple grand. I just didn't know it about it. So that's more of my reasoning of trying to figure out that way. Because like I said, there's some Blu-rays and DVDs and things that I plan on talking about soon that are worth crazy. I mean, hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars in some instances.
Well, I mean, I know I've talked about this a little bit before, but the only reason I ever got into comic books was because of Magic the Gathering. I had a cousin who played Magic the Gathering, and the shop that I went to go get Magic the Gathering cards had comic books. And, you know, God, it was Spider-Man when the original Spider-Man came out. Fuck, was it like 2000? It was right around Free Comic Book Day. And they gave away like 2 or 3 free comic books. And like, I read all of those. And then I immediately, the next time I went in to buy Magic cards, I was like, hey, I'm going to grab some comic books. And it slowly built and built and built. And now I probably have more in comic books than I do in Magic at this point.
God, that's just crazy. Like I said, I'm looking and there is a copy of that He-Man Skeletor variant 9.8 for $5,500 on fucking eBay right now. Comics have gone crazy.
You know what? It's crazy, but I love it.
I do too. I mean, I didn't think this. Some of these prices. I mean, what sucks is I'm fucking kicking myself. Absolutely kicking myself. There's a guy right now that has a 9.6, one of the Zdarsky Vader Down variants for $4,900.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Neil Gaiman, the Burger editorial, there's a $4,500 9.4 SS up right now. I mean, there are some monsters up.
The thing about it, you know, people compare this to the 90s all the time, but the difference is that everybody now has a way to sell their stuff and make money. People would go into the comic book shop back then and they bought, you know, 10 copies of The Death of Superman, and they just expected that they'd be able to sell it one day, but they didn't have anybody to sell it to.
There was a copy. What's crazy about that is people did. I didn't even know that there was a platinum edition of that book until 3 years ago.
Yep.
I had no idea that there was a 1 per store variant.
Well, nobody cared because they didn't pay. By the time, you know, people were trying to sell those, people had soured so much on comic books because they didn't make money like they expected to.
But it was not advertised anywhere. That was the thing. What I was trying to say about that is DC kind of fucked everyone on that one. Because everyone was buying the bagged ones and shit like that, thinking that was going to be the creme de la creme. Well, nope, they snuck that one on the back door of everyone, that there was a bagged, you know, silver platinum version.
Yeah, but I mean,
I'm happy with. I mean,
they sold a lot of copies.
they did. That was a great run. I just finished watching Reign of Superman on the DC animated.
I've been meaning to watch that.
And honestly, it wasn't bad. They did a few things with Superboy, that cocky ass little shit Superboy character from Reign of Superman.
Yeah.
And they turned him into something different. And they do such a good job on the animated. I've stated for years. I just wish that if they'd use the same storylines and shit like that they do on the anime, they do a hell of a lot better box office wise. So
You're probably not wrong.
I don't know, man. I'm wrong about quite a bit of shit. So
No, that's not true, dude.
thanks, buddy. Made me feel good.
Hey, man, you're the first guy talking up Jaron Jackson Jr., so hey, man, I'll give you credit for that, for sure.
Well, good. I'm glad I get credit for something. I usually
All right, so I know Keith was talking about this a little bit, and I definitely agree, but you guys want to get into some Netflix spec.
fuck yeah.
Well, I know Keith just kind of said in general that Netflix spec seems to be a thing. Reborn was doing really, really well after that announcement. For me, it all kind of goes back to Sabrina.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to bring up. Sabrina was kind of like the first book that started all this, I think.
Well, and it shows how much power Netflix has for speculation, because when Riverdale came out on the CW, it really didn't do much for Archie. But now with how popular Sabrina has been on Netflix, there's even that new series, was it Blossom 666, is doing really well. That spec has started to spill over into other properties in the universe because people like that show that much.
Yeah, CW spec is kind of trash. I mean, what do you guys think?
I haven't bought anything based on CW spec in a very long time. But
I mean, some books have moved. I mean, just look at the Batwoman, right? It's Batwoman right now.
Yep, Batwoman's probably the only one.
Well, I mean, Firestorm sold well for a time, and so did some of the other Arrow books. But I think after a while, people just get tired, and the fan base drops off. The same thing happened with Walking Dead. I think it was great at the beginning, but eventually, it just like, who cares anymore?
Walking Dead just they diverted from the story too much.
Well, and I think Kirkman said that was his goal the whole time, right?
Yeah, I mean, but like they were spending episodes on D tier characters that weren't even in the comic books.
Oh, yeah.
Lesbian relationships and shit, which is great. I'm all for it. But I mean, if you remember, I mean, they would it was in the middle of these huge battles, they'd have 2 episodes of 2 characters you knew nothing really about, and it just destroyed the whole flow of the series.
Well, that show went to shit as soon as they got rid of Frank Darabont, in my opinion. But you know,
that was the first season, though.
Yeah. If you watch episodes from the first season and you compare them to the second season, you can tell how much they slashed the budget and how much they were really trying to stretch out each episode. They'd have people like, 2 people in a room having a conversation, and then one guy would leave the room to tell another person the conversation he just had.
Well, that's the thing. The first season was only like 6 episodes or something, so they didn't have to stretch it out. And then they got into whatever it was, and it was a lot harder to tell the story.
I think it was all a budget thing. I think AMC should have increased the budget with how well the first season did, and they ordered more episodes with less of a budget.
Oh, you got to pay Rick Grimes, though, man.
Well, now they do. But, I mean, Frank Darabont was a big deal, and by rights, he really shouldn't have even been on that show. And neither should have Andrew Lincoln or half the people in the cast, but they were only there because of Frank Darabont.
I think the guy that plays old Rick's gonna find it tough on the in the Hollywood. I don't think he can act his way out of a fucking paper bag. So
I think he's a better actor than people realize, and he just really hates being on that show. I'm not exaggerating. He's said in interviews the only reason he took that job was because of Frank Darabont.
Oh, I have no doubt, but his accents are the worst I've ever heard, ever. His southern accent might be the worst I've ever heard. way he says Carl and shit, it's just tragic.
Carl.
It's just it's the only thing. It's just so bad. So I don't know.
I think he's really not putting any effort into it, and that's
I'm gonna have to take your word on it because the 9 seasons earlier have proven to be shit. So I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's in some shit, and I'm like, I gotta call Brandon and let him know I was wrong. But I don't think that's gonna happen.
Let's talk more about the Millar world stuff. So what's going on with this Huck?
Huck, I read the first issue. I think I might have read the first couple issues of when it came back, or when it came out. It was okay. I don't think I was really in love with it at the time.
Yeah, I mean, it came out like all of Millar's books, highly speculated on. There were a bunch of covers for number ones. But this week, some guy on Twitter was talking about how he was writing the screenplay to it. And that guy just happened to have also written the screenplay to Hidden Figures, the movie. So based on that, Mark Millar retweeted it, and then people are, I guess, jumping on Huck now.
I think, honestly, at this point, if there's any book that Mark Millar made, you should probably just buy issue 1. Because at some point there's going to be news about it.
Jimmy, you've been bullish on Millar though, right? Sorry to interrupt, Brandon.
I don't know. Well, I mean, American Jesus nothing's happened.
I thought you loved Huck. Or did you hate Huck because it was?
I never read it.
He talked about it on a previous podcast.
Never talked about Huck.
Well, what's funny is Millar's books never were really worth anything, in the beginning. So it's funny how now everybody's trying to jump on it.
Well, after Old Man Logan really became a thing, I think that really made a lot of his books start heating up a little bit.
I mean, But
also you have to remember, if it wasn't for him, Samuel Jackson never would have been in Avengers. And that never would have happened because he built the Ultimate Universe. So he's done like a lot of really mainstream things, and people just don't really recognize that. But he pretty much built the cinematic universe for Marvel. Sorry to cut you off there, Brandon.
No, I mean, he made Kingsman, he made Kick-Ass. Like, a lot of his stuff gets adapted. Even Wanted got a movie. So I think just in general, if there's anything that he made, it's probably worth putting some money into. Jupiter's Circle could happen.
That's funny though, because those are the books that I was thinking about that had like absolutely no spec value.
Yeah, Wanted was the first one, and they changed it completely, right? And now that you think about it, that James McAvoy, or the guy from Glass, who's also an X-Men, he's in like a lot of those. Like, he might be in as many superhero movies as Chris Evans.
I think he's in more.
You think he's in more? Yeah, because he is in a lot of them. But I liked Wanted, but apparently it's nothing like the comic.
I haven't read the comic. I won't lie to you guys.
And there was that one, and then after that it was Kick-Ass, and then Kingsman. Yeah, Kingsman. Yeah.
Yeah. None of those books really did anything,
Well, Kick-Ass did do well for a while. Kingsman was really overprinted, I think, just because it was, one, Marvel, and two, I'm fairly confident that Millar hinted, or at least said, that there was already a media deal before the book came out.
Plus the title was different, right? It wasn't called Kingsman.
Yeah, it's called Kingsman.
It was called the Secret Service.
Secret Service, yeah, that's what it's called. Secret Service.
Here's a comic that I haven't heard anyone talk about. Jimmy probably knows something about it, but have you guys seen what these Alita Battle Angel Viz comics #1 have been going for?
I think that's bad spec, personally.
No, I got an email this morning. I got an email literally 4 hours ago from some media company saying, "Hey, we're putting on a free movie. You should come see it." And it had like 4 free tickets to go see this Alita movie. So I hadn't heard about it until yesterday.
What I was told, I had a buddy who saw it, and he said he had the same feeling after watching it that he did after watching The Matrix.
Really?
And I trust him. And if you look, there's been I guess there's 8 volumes, and it's a Viz manga. But I mean, if you look, it looks to be very difficult to get in super high grade, and quite a few copies are selling between $100 and $250 raw, it looks like. Jimmy, do you know anything about them? I mean, do you have any? Does anybody have any?
I don't have any. I have a lot of Viz books just because I like reading them. But usually, if you find them in a comic store, they're beat to shit, like you said.
I don't know. It's just one of those things. If that movie hits,
I mean, the movie probably will hit, doesn't it? How is it James Cameron?
yeah.
Who's behind that one?
Robert Rodriguez and
is it Robert Rodriguez
and the other guy, his partner.
Yeah, because I don't think it's James Cameron.
Guillermo.
I think it's somebody on the level.
It's
Del Toro. Are
yeah.
you
I believe because they were at the premiere. I thought because they were. I guess we can look real quick and see.
Yeah, Robert Rodriguez is listed as the director.
Yep. James Cameron, Rodriguez, and John Landau are the producers. So that's
what it was. It was James Cameron.
It's got the right backing, guys. That's all I'm saying is, I mean, who knows? And a lot of times, it's the same thing like Big Hero 6. Sometimes these movies don't correlate into comic values and this and that. But if this turns into a franchise, something to look at long term, in my opinion. So.
Fuck, I don't think I've ever seen these books in the store, really.
I haven't either. I was just curious because I was like, this has got to be based on something.
Oh, yeah.
And sure enough.
Like I said, most of those books are treated like garbage. And, most manga stuff in America is because people just don't understand it. Even among comic shop owners, if they see manga, they're like, what is this? Who cares?
How do you say it?
Manga?
No, don't correct him.
No, I don't know how to say it. You think I know how to say anything? I call it manga. So.
I call it manga too.
No, it's manga now.
Mongo.
I mean, I definitely could be wrong. This
Don
might be
we got Don Ross, and I love it. I absolutely love it. Well, guys, you got anything else to add this week?
Yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about. I know I read the new issue of Spider-Man. It came out yesterday. I was a little annoyed because Ryan Otley did the cover, and then they had some guy I know used to do Doctor Strange doing the interiors, and I'm not a fan of his art. But there's a homeless guy who came in this issue, and he mentions how in his previous life he used to be a reporter. Most people are assuming that it's Ned Leeds, which is definitely a possibility. I don't know if that's going to turn out to be that guy that I mentioned on previous podcasts as, being somebody who's kind of come back from the afterlife and become a new villain, but it's possible.
Well, I mean, I feel like when Ben Ulrich died, which was really like for no reason whatsoever, there was really a place left out in the Marvel universe, because a lot of the books that he was in, the way that they told, like the way that they explained what was going on and everything was great. And so if they were able to bring a character like that back, it would probably make the most sense. Or if they just ignored that Ben Ulrich died, that would be cool.
I think it's great spec, Brandon. I really do. He's one of those characters that it would not surprise me if Sony and Marvel use very, very soon in a big Spider-Man movie. They've done Green Goblin. I think they, as different as they're trying to be and differentiate themselves from the Raimi Spider-Mans, I think they use him. I think they use the Hobgoblin.
Well, and like I know we mention all the time, nostalgia is huge right now. The Hobgoblin was my favorite part of that Spider-Man TV show.
If he's throwing pumpkin bombs and has the fucking glider smoking and shit, fuck, it looked great on big screen.
Absolutely. ASM 238 has one of the best covers of all time.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Oh, well, I got one last thought. Do not sleep on Invincible #1. No, and that's not new news or anything else. I have a really good feeling that this Amazon series is going to be fucking unreal. I think it's going to be, honestly, I was talking to my son about it. If they do it with the violence and the style of like a Dragon Ball Z and do it in an anime almost way, I think it has a chance to be fucking gigantic.
I actually put that on the outline and I totally missed it. But yeah, I like we were talking about with Netflix being so good for spec, I think it's just because everybody out there has Netflix, but everybody also has Amazon. And they might not necessarily be using it for video right now, but they're starting to push that more and more. I think that Invincible series is going to be really, really big.
And that's kind of what I was alluding to. Are these streaming services now going to become where people start looking for the spec?
100%. You know, this is a perfect example. I don't know if you guys have been watching any of the. I mean, this is probably a stupid question, but you don't have the DC. We've talked about it, but the new Young Justice episodes that are streaming.
No, I really should.
They're fucking. There are some. I'm not going to give anything away, but I bought 2 comics because they showed up in the Young Justice. I mean, I'll say what one of them won. One of them, and she plays a huge part, is Harper Row, aka Bluebird. First appearance, Batman 7, New 52. Also, at her first appearance of Bluebird, I think it's 21. But for DC to take the time to put these characters, these Batman characters, and make them a part of an animated series, they got bigger plans for these characters. If you know what you're looking for and you can read the signs, that is real speculation. And you got the balls to spend $25 on a couple copies of a book that might be fucking fire starters in 3 years. But like I said, look at some of these animated stuff. If you look at the characters that the animated universe has broken out and watched their speculation value, they've done nothing but increase. Damian Wayne, perfect example of that. That is how the world knew about him.
Here's the thing, though, about these streaming services, right? I think you got to look at subscription numbers. I think that's why Netflix and Amazon have a really good chance to do well, because there's a ton of people that watch Netflix and Amazon. They got hundreds of millions of people that have subscriptions to these things.
I told you the story about that Australian cartoon that was on Amazon. That is, I mean, is so their streaming platform works. I mean,
I wonder if that's Tumbleleaf. My son watches that all the time.
I forget what it was called, but I mean, that's the thing. They have the built-in subscribers. And another thing that people don't realize is how many of those fucking Fire tablets they sell and Fire sticks and all that other shit that's proprietary to Amazon. Every kid probably has access to an Amazon Prime account.
Oh, yeah.
My son was talking about it at school. Apparently in class, I mean, that's what the kids do, is one of them has an HBO account, one of them has a Showtime account. They all trade logins. He said by the end of the fucking afternoon, he had about 8 other logins he never had before.
Yeah, I think everybody's going to watch that show.
Good, and that's what's great. You know what? I mean, we didn't have to pay to watch fucking He-Man and Transformers and Thundercats as a kid, right?
Yeah, but that's my point is, like, people are cutting the cord left and right. Like, people don't have cable anymore, but everybody has Amazon.
Yep, no, I totally
Netflix
agree.
and Netflix.
Yep.
I know a lot of people that cut cable. They said it was either cable or Netflix, and they said Netflix.
Absolutely. And if anybody listening has not already read Invincible, I'm a huge Spider-Man fanboy. I've got a Spider-Man tattoo, but Invincible is the best run of all time, in my opinion. I've read through that run probably 10 times.
Never read it, but as we've talked about, as I'm drunkenly scrolling through Instagram, there's always those guys that, paste the 4 or 5 photos or pages to tell a part of the story. There's this one guy who's been posting Invincible stuff, and I can't lie, I've actually gone and read a couple of the comics to find out what happened and before in those issues.
I mean, I'm hoping that they'll basically do this series as the first arc in the comic books, but anybody who is a fan of superheroes and the superhero genre, they should love it. I can't imagine a complaint.
What people might not understand about Invincible is if you look at the covers, it looks like a hokey a hokey Fantastic Four type plain Jane white bread character. Wrong. There's more death, blood, destruction, and violent shit in that comic book than I've ever seen in any other mainstream comic book. And I'm not overstating that.
And I said it for a long time, people always say, what's the next Walking Dead? Well, Robert Kirkman wrote this too. And if he's putting the same push behind this, like he did with The Walking Dead, I think there's a good chance that a lot of Walking Dead fans are going to be watching Invincible too.
Oh, that's why I think that, the Invincible 9/8s have all, they've been in that $800 to $1,000 range for quite a while. It's still a good investment. Remember, people were like, oh my God, Walking Dead's $1,000. Well, if they'd have bought one and hold on to it, they'd have made another $1,000 and maybe $2,000.
I tell people all the time that, for the right price, I'll sell anything, but the one copy I have of Invincible #1 will never leave my possession ever.
As long as it's not a Larry's variant, I don't give a shit.
I've got about 30 of those that I've been selling off.
I joke, but those will be $400 or $500 books very shortly if this series hits the way it should. Because if they do the animation right, that's the key. If it's not, if they don't do like a cheap animation, kind of like what's that show like Archer, those kind of half-assed. If they do a good quality animation, like anime style, it has all the potential in the world. Because like I said, I mean, they can stretch that. Well, how many issues? About 150 of Invincible? I don't know. I mean, they can stretch that out into 10 years.
Oh, easily. And the thing I'll tell everybody if they're just looking to speculate on some books, Invincible 1 is a great pick, but keep an eye out for Invincible 2. I've pulled, I have my one copy of Invincible 1. I pulled out 3 or 4 copies of Invincible 3, 4, 5. I never see Invincible 2.
I don't even know what the cover looks like now that you mention it.
Look it up. It's the first appearance of like everybody who's relevant to the Invincible universe except for Invincible.
Oh, weird. It's got a blue cover.
Yeah, and you never see it.
I've never seen that.
Even on eBay, it's super scarce. And like I don't want to pay eBay prices, but the closer we get to that show, I might just do it.
Another show that's going to hit Amazon is East of West.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And I know the #1s really haven't gone up that much, and except for the one, right?
RRP's out of sight.
RRP, yeah.
It is an RRP, right?
Yeah, Diamond Retailer, I think.
Okay. Do you have one of those, Jimmy?
Yeah, I have several.
I don't know. Those books are still selling for pretty cheap for East of West #1, so.
There's a lot of variants. That's one of those ones where I think that.
What does it have? Ghosts? It only has a couple, I think. Ghost RRP.
Yeah, it has a Ghost variant. I think there might be a Forbidden Planet variant.
Yep.
So that's 2.
And then there's
3?
a regular.
No, there's more than that.
Yeah, I think there's 4, and then there's the RRP.
Yeah, see, I don't think there's that many, man.
But I mean, like when you compare it to a book like Saga, it's a lot. But when you compare it to like any other Image book, it's not really that many.
Well, Saga still hasn't been adapted, right?
It might not ever be adapted, but it still sells well.
I'm just saying it won't have that same push behind it like, people are going to have as soon as they see that trailer.
I don't know. I feel like if Saga ever was picked up and like they started making a real movement, the book could start being pushed up there. But right now, what is keeping the book up there? Is it because it's a quality book? I mean, if the book stops being published, what happens?
I really liked Saga, and
so did Keith. Keith will fight people over Saga.
I'm bummed that it's on hiatus.
So you guys are caught up though to like every issue?
Oh yeah.
I'm just waiting for the next year to come out.
Yeah, see, so I just feel like if that book stopped being published or it ended, would the price keep going up?
It did get stopped publishing, correct?
No, I mean they're on a hiatus, but I mean if it stopped altogether, would it go up? Would the book start just going down, or would it stay?
I don't think it would.
I think it'd go down.
Yeah, I think people would lose interest, but I do think it's a very quality book, and I just lost interest a long time ago on that one.
I mean, it might go down a little bit, but if it does, I don't think it'll be much because the people who love that book, whether it's running or not. I mean, how long has it been since there's been a new issue of Saga?
Yeah, and I think in the back of people's minds, I think they'll always want it to be adapted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's always going to have that hanging out there.
Anybody else got anything?
No, I think that's it for this week.
I don't know how we could have covered any more shit than we did, but we covered everything from every corner of everything I could think of. So awesome show, guys. I appreciate y'all's time. Have a good weekend. Everyone be safe.